Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your one channel for everything VR related. Today, we're checking out Airborn. Airborn is a newly released aerial shooter, available on Steam for $12.99. Now, some people have started referring to this title as the Iron Man VR for the PC, and in many ways, the aerial combat and mechanics of this title greatly surpass what you find in PlayStation VR's Iron Man VR title. The only problem is Iron Man delivers a full game, and this is just an arcade shooter experience. There's actually a lot that I love about this game that I will go into detail describing, but ultimately I'd love to see it built into a much more robust title. So let's jump into what is easily the best part, and that's the flying mechanics. Unlike Iron Man, who propels himself from the palm of his hands, the thrust is actually coming from your wrist and pointing back towards your elbow. So you just point your hands where you want to go, and when you're ready for a speed boost, you punch the air in front of you. Now you'll also maintain some pretty intense momentum, so it feels great to just whiz by an enemy and then physically turn around and open up fire on them. A lot of enemies will also attack via kamikaze, so you'll have scenarios where you're narrowly escaping an in-air collision. The weapon mechanics also make you feel like this quick draw badass. Squeezing the grip will instantly add pistols to your hands and disable your ability to thrust. So it really feels amazing to blast off towards an enemy at full speed and then seemingly draw two weapons out of nowhere, immediately eliminating your enemy. Your guns have 3 different choices of secondary firing modes. That includes a shotgun, revolver, and a charged laser. This allows you to pull off maneuvers like flying close to a stronger enemy, blast them with a shotgun, and then quickly switch back to your regular lasers, eliminating smaller enemy drones. And this is a perfect time for me to mention that the enemies actually stand out in this game also. Besides looking really cool, they all have very distinct AIs and attack patterns. The smaller turrets will remain stationary, and they telegraph every time they're firing a laser, letting you know it's time to maneuver out of the way. The weaker drones can be dispatched by just flying at full speed and then turning around, picking them off while they're chasing you. The larger kamikaze drone has this telltale audio cue to let you know you need to move out of the way right now. Even at full speed, it's most likely going to catch up with you, and your best option is to actually follow it because it's incapable of making sharp turns and swinging back around towards you. So the combination of all these mechanics, the enemies, the ability to fly, is actually pretty exhilarating, but there's not much more to the game itself. Originally, I looked at this title like it might be a contender to my favorite wave shooter, Space Pirate Trainer, and yes, if you were able to implement these mechanics into that game, I would be absolutely blown away. And it's just like I said with the Iron Man title. Flying in this game just feels much better. But Airborn suffers from a lack of content and clear-cut progression. There's something to be said about repetition and just those little indications of welcome to wave 1, wave 2, etc. When playing a game like Space Pirate Trainer, you can say, oh wow, on this run I made it to wave 10, I've never made it that far before. And there is a sense of accomplishment that comes with that. While Airborn does have a progression system, which comes down to items like killing a certain number of enemies with a specific weapon, and you will level up upon completing these tasks, allowing you to unlock some perks, but ultimately they do not change the gameplay. Each session also feels a bit too random to me. You're placed in this big open world, enemies are scattered throughout, and beating your high score often feels more like an act of luck than a measurement of your actual skill. So in summary, there is a lot to like about this title, including the graphics, mechanics, enemies, AIs, weapons, you name it, but the lack of content and clear-cut progression leaves me a bit disinterested from continually playing this title. It's definitely worth the asking price of $12.99, and I'll experiment with using this on people who haven't really experienced VR yet to see how they handle the overall intensity level. But unless this game gets some significant updates, I really don't see myself playing it too often. I would like to fly over some type of metropolis and fight ground-based enemies, and even doubling down on that whole Iron Man-esque concept could bring some extra life to this game. Having an option to propel yourself and fire lasers from your palms, and having the ability to stop and hover in midair could actually go a long way. Okay everybody, that was my brief review of Airborn. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.